guys, I made a huge gaffe in my 2020 for favorites by not mentioning a perfume. Happy New Year's Day, everybody. So when this video goes up, it will be the last day of 2024. And I first want to thank all of you for watching and subscribing and sharing my videos this year. It's been a really fun year and I'm looking forward to 2025. And in that vein, I decided to do a video that I looked back at my favorites from 2023, the video that I did, to see if they were still favorites. And everything that I have on my face is from that video, from my favorites of 2023. So I thought we would just go through it, revisit, and see if my thoughts are still the same. So on my face, we have the Chanel primer. As you all know, because I've talked about it incessantly, the Frosty White Chanel primer is one of my favorites of all time. I don't usually use primers, but I like a glowy primer, and this one's fantastic. It was limited edition. I don't know if they're ever going to bring it back. It's impossible to get anything out of Chanel. So if it does come back, I will definitely buy it again. I think it's a great product. It works really well on pretty much everybody. And I hope Chanel does more of it, but you know, fingers crossed. I don't really know at this point. Then on my foundation is the Clé de Peau Cushion Foundation, which is excellent. This is like a square, the cover I have on this one is a limited edition cover, but it's the square pan cushion foundation, and the actual name of it is kind of odd. It's the Radiant Cushion Foundation Dewy. That's literally how it's printed. So I wear it in B10. I think this is an excellent cushion foundation, one of my favorites of all time. It is my favorite foundation from Clé de Peau, and it gives a seamless finish, beautiful on the skin. And honestly, I think anybody who has like a drier skin or more mature skin would absolutely love that foundation. Again, you have to like a cushion foundation. Cushions can be a little bit messy, but still absolutely love it. Bronzer is the NARS bronzer. Now, one of the reasons I like the NARS bronzer so much is the color. This is 00. So this was a new color that NARS came out with. 00 Laguna. The 01, which is now Laguna, is the original shade. And I just want to intensify the bronzer a little bit here for you so you can see. It's not particularly deep. That's the whole point. It's 00. So for those of us who are very, very pale, it's an excellent shade. It's a little bit cool toned. The NARS bronzer is excellent. They reformulated it, I believe, just to take out talc, but you know, who knows. And it goes on very smoothly. It's seamless. It's doesn't, you know, settle into pores. It doesn't dry out your skin. It's a really nice bronzer at a better price point. So yes, still loving the bronzer. The blush I have on is the blush by Dior, and the shade is, make sure I get the name right, I think it's Sillage, as in Sillage from your perfume, but it's Sillage. And this shade is just a really nice, easy shade to wear. And the formula in this one, and again, I know it's hit or miss with Dior, but this particular shade and this particular formula is really good. It's a rosy beige kind of shade. It looks good on a lot of folks. It's not, I don't think it's deep enough that it would work on somebody who has a very deep skin tone, but you can definitely build that up. You can see how quickly you can get more pigment out of it. So I do think it's a really good shade for most folks. And like I said, the formula in this one is really good. It reminds me of the Dior blushes of old, and I would recommend it. So I think that one is still absolutely fantastic, and stand by that. I mean, then I have the highlighter, which is the Tom Ford Rose Iris Highlighter, which to this day I, you know, really still use and really like. This is a really pink, icy shade from Tom Ford. It's one of the best highlighters he's done. It's a beautiful highlighter if you like a cool toned pinkish highlighter. It's stunning. Now I have gotten questions about Hermes, and I did my best of 2024 and I didn't have a highlighter in there. And the reason is I still don't have my Hermes highlighter. I did buy it and I don't have it. So I couldn't talk about it to say that it was my favorite since I don't technically own it. But I would say that from what I've seen, I really, really like it. And once I get it, I will talk about it. But it's going to be very late. And by then, most of you will probably bought it if you actually wanted it. And on my eyes, I have one of my favorite eyeshadow quints from Dior ever. And you can probably guess what it is. It's Eden Roc. Eden Roc, it was just outstanding. I loved Eden Roc. This, to me, is like maybe the best Dior. I'm not sure if it's the best, but it's one of the best that Dior has ever done. The color story is exactly my kind of color story. It's got a little bit of blue in it, which I love. And I took the shade, the middle shade here, and this white shade on the eyelid, this all over the eye, this towards the inner corner, and then kind of, mushed it into the middle, and then did the blue on the outer corner and lined my eyes with it before I put liner on. I love this. I love this quad. I love this quint. I think it's one of the best. Like I said, I've said it several times. The formula is excellent. It's really smooth. It goes on beautifully. The colors are easy to use. You can mix and match it with a lot of other things. The blue is not too light blue. It's not too deep blue. It's just the perfect blue. I mean, Eden Roc was just, the minute I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that's going to be a great eyeshadow palette. So I've continued to use that. And the liner that I have with it is Surfside, and this is by Victoria Beckham. This year I did not mention favorite liners. I do have the new liner from Victoria Beckham, the purple shade, and it is extremely good. Her liners are excellent. I kind of used mine almost as a little bit of shadow. I smudged it out on the eye. You could do that easily with her liners. They are very smooth. They are very smudgeable. And once you set them down, they don't move a lot. But if you have a very oily eyelid or you have a lot of transfer underneath your eyes, just want to keep an eye on it because it is so smudgy that you can have issues. I mean, I don't personally, but I could see how you could. That's all I want to mention. I have the Hermes Brun Yachting on my lips, one of my favorite shades from Hermes ever. Now this is one of the shiny lip glossy, balms. This is not super pigmented, but it's a perfect shade for me. I love these types of warm brown shades, and it's just a good glossy lip. It is very expensive for what it is, so I'm certainly not telling people to run out and buy it, but if you can get them on sale at any point, I recommend them, or if you're willing to, for the price point, I really like this particular shade and this particular formula. And last but not least, this is the Victoria Beckham Vast Lash. This is a great mascara. I really like this one. It's got a curved brush, which I like. It's volumizing. It's a really beautiful mascara. It's actually one of my favorites. And I don't talk about it as much this year because I've become a huge Sweet Beauty mascara fan, and I use that one more than practically anything else. But the Vast Lash is great. It's a great, great mascara. So I'm still loving that. So those are all the things on my face right now, but there was other products that I talked about last year. So let's get into it. There was the Hermes eyeshadows, generally all the Hermes eyeshadows that came out. 05 was one of my favorites. I think that's the vegetable one. I call it the vegetable one with the green and the blue. I love the Hermes eyeshadows. I think they're beautiful, and this year I recommended the holiday one as one of my favorites. They're really good formulas. There's different types of finishes in the 4 shades that are in the quads. They're really good on the eye. They're very easy to use. They're very user-friendly. They're not colors that are gonna, scare you. I think for the most part, they're 4 shades that are very, very usable. Every once in a while, they have one that's a little bit more avant-garde, but honestly, it's not anything that, is gonna be really out there. I'd say the Pradas are a little bit more so than the Hermes. They have some shades that are a little bit more bright, but even then, those shades are soft. So the Hermes is really great. And then the, I really like them. And then there was a couple of other things that I wanted to mention. So the Flight 70 Primer. Flight 70 is a brand that is a smaller niche brand that actually has a store here in Wellesley, Massachusetts. And I have not been in the store. I need to go. But they have excellent products. I like their lip glosses. Their primer is really good. Interestingly enough, I have not been using that primer over the last year. You know, I'm always honest with you guys. I haven't been using it. I haven't really been using primers. I tend to use the Lisa Eldridge product that came out here, 2024. So once that came out, I kind of stopped using anything except for that, and the Chanel Touch, which I continue to use. When I use a primer, it's either this or maybe the Rose Tint or the new gold one by Chantecaille. There's a couple of other things that I use, but I'm using more glowy primers, something that's just like a highlighting one. So again, the Flight 70 is really good, but I don't tend to use primers at this point. The Chanel Tint, the Touch, which I just talked about, the foundation, love that. The Estee Lauder Tiger Eye Lipstick. That is a great color and a great lipstick, but I haven't been using it very often. I think that one, honestly, I think it's just because I have too much makeup and I just don't get around to it. Jones Road Dusty Rose. That is a great product. I love that. That can be used as bronzer. I use it as blush, but I really like it. The Guerlain Floral Denim Collection. As we all know, the Guerlain has come out with great collections in regards to packaging. The denim collection had great packaging, but I also did like the shades that were inside. Some folks don't really particularly like the Guerlain formula for the eyeshadows. That, you know, I think is more of a personal decision. They're a little bit more, I don't know, they're almost like baked gelée kind of formula. Like they're not super creamy, but they're not super powdery either. They almost have like a satin, kind of a hard finish. I like the way they look on the eye, but they're not my favorite formula. But the packaging has been outstanding, and that particular color story appealed to me, but again, it was blue. So have I used it a lot? No, but still love the packaging. Fenty Mascara. Still love the Fenty Mascara, but again, I have not been using it. I mean, I used it and then I used it up and threw it away. I did not rebuy it. The Dior Eden Roc Eyeshadow. I love that. The Byredo Remembrance palette. Yes, absolutely. And you know, this year my favorite was the Byredo Mineralscapes palette. Just Byredo does an amazing job when it comes to the big oversized palettes. The Hermes blushes that were the luminous blushes. Rose Doré was one of my favorite shades that they came out with. I really like the Hermes blushes that are luminous. Once it first came out, they're like a matte finish, and I just don't think they look good on me. I just don't like the formula. I think that's what it is. They seem dry, and they seem like kind of cakey on me. I don't know if anyone else felt that, but the ones that came out that were luminous, I liked those. Those were really good. I do use those. Dolce & Gabbana Solar Powder. Yes, I mean, I like I said, I think that might be one of the best products of all time. I mean, there's no powder I've ever seen that's better. The Yves Saint Laurent shadows, they came out with their new mini couture in 2023, and those are great. Much better price point. In the beginning, there were problems with the packaging, like some pieces, like the pans fell out. I have not heard of that happening in 2024. Let me know if you have, but my understanding is they got that under control, which is great. The Clé de Peau shadows, I have talked about them, I don't know how many times. If you have not picked up any of the Clé de Peau new shadows, you should try them, especially if you're older, especially if you have more mature skin. Those are worth it. They're extremely good. There's a primer shade in there. It's a very elegant, very soft look for the most part. They are not shimmery, outlandish, intense eyeshadows. They are a soft, elegant look, but they are beautiful, and they stay on no matter what you do. Like, you put that primer shade on and then you let it set and then you put the other shades on it, it's not going to move. So for somebody who really prizes that and it's important to you and your eyes are a little bit trickier to use eyeshadows, Clé de Peau is the one to use. The Chanel Byzance collection with the gold foil. Have I used those particular quads in the last year? Not really, no. I still love the packaging and I think the shades were beautiful. But again, I have so much stuff to use and I've been trying so many new things that I haven't. 2025, you're going to see my resolutions video come out soon. I am going to talk about how I'm going to be buying less and revisiting more. So I'm going to do like the Byzance palettes and like comparing them to other palettes and that type of thing. Prada eyeshadow. Yes, the Prada eyeshadows are amazing. Prada foundation. Talked about that incessantly all year. It is the only matte foundation that I can recommend for somebody with dry skin. The shades are a little tricky in the sense that there are like 3 Prada shades that I can actually wear, like 3 different shades, and they all look good. You just have to decide what your favorite is based on your taste. So, and it is a little tricky to figure out your shade, but there are tons of shades. And I feel like they are adaptable shades. So I would definitely check out the Prada foundation if you're interested in a matte. It's not matte. It's like a skin-like matte. It's a soft matte. The Dior Sillage blush, which, again, I have on my face. Dior Backstage Silver Essentials palette. The Backstage palettes have been, in my opinion, more consistent than the Dior eyeshadows, and I think they've been really good. The Silver Essentials is beautiful. It's not really silver. It's more purple and gray, but I love that palette. And yes, I have continued to use that. That's a really good one. The Chanel Holiday Shadow, I mentioned it in a recent video about Chanel. I love that palette. It's not like out of the blue new type of shades. It's a pretty tried and true 5-pan collection of shades, but I think personally it creates a great look, and the creaminess of the shadows that are in there are like the Chanel of old. That one was outstanding. The Tom Ford lip oil, still love lip oil because it has a like rose scent. Still use that. That one's fantastic, although mine's almost gone now that I think about that. I might try the new Tom Ford Rose Exposed lip oil. Let me know if you're interested in me trying that collection, because I could buy that from Rhiannon. Then there is the Tom Ford Rose Iris Highlighter, which I have on. Guerlain Tobacco and Honey Perfume. I realize I made a huge gaffe in my 2020 for favorites by not mentioning a perfume. My favorite perfume for 2024 is the Chanel. Now, I've heard this pronounced 2 different ways. I've heard it pronounced Comette, and I've heard it pronounced Comete. Now, I think it's Comette, but somebody tell me. Somebody tell me how this is pronounced. So, Comette, this is a beautiful fragrance by Chanel. It is very expensive. It does come in a smaller size. This is like the perfect scent for me. I find it to be soothing and just elegant and beautiful. And it's a soft, musky, vanilla, powdery fragrance, but it's a complicated fragrance. It's not as simple as I think a lot of fragrances can be. It's not one note, and it just dries down to something just like sexy, and I just love that scent. I've talked about it numerous times on the channel, but I can't believe I didn't mention anything from 2024, and I apologize. It would be that one. But back to 2023, the Guerlain Tobacco and Honey, yes, it's a gorgeous fragrance, but it's very strong. If you don't like the scents, if you don't like tobacco and honey, do not buy it, because that's exactly what it smells like, and it is very intense. It is very deep, and it's a heavier fragrance. I would definitely recommend it for the winter. I don't know if I would wear that fragrance if I lived, say, in Miami. You know, it's a very hot, humid climate and generally relatively warm throughout the year. I don't know if that would work. I mean, you have to wear whatever, you know, you like, but it's a heavy fragrance, and it kind of, in the heat and humidity, I think it would just, the word I'm looking for is like just heavy, you know, but in the winter, it's comforting, cozy. So that's the thing. It really does depend on your preference for fragrance. That's very, very personal. The Frederic Malle Heaven Can Wait is a great fragrance. Still love that. The Saint Laurent Black Opium Le Parfum, that's the least expensive of that list. And that one was the 4 vanillas that Saint Laurent came out with. It is a wonderful fragrance. Now, there is a new one from Saint Laurent that just launched at Sephora, and I think it has a marshmallow take. I did a shorts video on here about sneakers, and I also did fragrances for 2025. And I'll do more, but I think the Gourmand segment of fragrances is going to grow. It's going to be a little bit of a twist on gourmand though. It's not going to be your traditional gourmand with just the vanilla. It's going to be something that has like, I don't know, almonds or pistachio or banana, or, you know, it's going to be a little bit more complicated, a little bit more elevated. I think that's the idea with the Saint Laurent one, that they are adding this marshmallow. So it'll be interesting to see what it smells like. I'll definitely try it out and see what I think. I did mention 2 brushes last year, Wayne Goss at the F5 brush, which is excellent, and the Sonia G Sheer Buffer. The Sonia G Sheer Buffer is a great, great brush if you're looking for something to buff out like too strong, too intense shades on your face. It just came out in the Kayaki size, which is the travel size, which is what I carry with me. I have all my Kayaki brushes, Sonia G Kayaki brushes, in my travel case. I don't take them out of my travel case. I only use them when I travel. They're the shorter brushes, shorter handles, and they work exactly like the big size brushes. And I am going to buy the Sheer Buffer because it's a great brush. I love it. And I wish I had it with me half the time when I travel. So I'm definitely going to pick that up. So that's one that's out there right now. I went through those things relatively quickly, but what I noticed when I went through the list is, to be honest, I love all of the products that I loved in 2023. There isn't anything on this list where I look at it and go, yeah, these are terrible. What was I thinking? Like I still have the same thoughts on all of these. And some of them I've continued to use through 2024, and they're just sort of part of my, you know, core group of makeup. But the biggest thing that I noticed is that even if I still love these products, I wasn't necessarily using them. And it was either because something else supplanted it, like Lisa Eldridge Skin Enhancer, which now I just kind of use it all the time, or that I just have too much and that I'm trying too much every single year and I'm not getting a chance to really, you know, use the stuff that I've already had. And I've mentioned that in many videos, and I'm sure that other content creators talk about it as well. So when we get into 2025 and I talk about my resolutions and what I'm going to do, there's some things I'm going to be switching up. One, because I'm going to be doing this full time. So that's, you know, that's a big part of it. But two, I feel like there's some things that now that I have the time to do it and really sit down and think about it, which I've never really had the chance to do, there's certain things that I want to tweak. Nothing's going to, you know, majorly change, but I appreciate all your feedback that you've given me on the video, the 10K video, and just throughout the year. I mean, I appreciate all the comments, and I take that very seriously. Like, whatever you tell me that you're looking for, it doesn't mean that if you tell me that you want a particular thing, I'm suddenly just going to do that. But I do take what you say very, very much to heart and try to give you what it is you're looking for in the videos that I do. And I really do appreciate constructive criticism. If you tell me that you don't like something, or, you know, I'm working on lighting. I bought a new light because I've heard that my lighting is sometimes different. And that's because I do have natural light. So I'll continue with the natural light, but I'll also have like one consistent lighting feature so that the lighting is always, well, should be always the same. And, there were some other things that people mentioned that I will continue to work on. So I appreciate that. Criticism just to be critical, nobody appreciates that. But constructive criticism so that I can get better and give you more of what you want, yeah, I love that. That's fantastic. That's why I'm here. I'm trying to provide content that you want to see. So I will continue to do that. I am going to work on my background, changing that up a little bit. If anyone has any suggestions, anything they would like to see, again, I'd love to hear. Would you like to see nothing in the background? Would you like to see maybe a vase and some flowers? I have my new Chanel snow globe back there and my snow globe collection. I mean, whatever it is you want to see, I'm thinking of changing it up. I'm thinking of doing something a little bit more colorful, but just simple. I don't know. I'm giving it thought. So it won't be an immediate switch when we hit January, because it's gonna take me some time to figure all these things out. But I really welcome your feedback. So everyone, have an amazing new year, and I will see you in 2025.